The United States has launched new strikes against Iran after 2 US military personnel were killed in Jordan, while one of Iran's top officials warns a full-scale war with the US could soon resume. Well, Karen Sudkamp is a former US defence intelligence analyst and Middle East expert, and she joins me now for some more on this situation. Karen, thank you so much for your time today. Look, we keep saying there's a risk of all-out war. Are we not already there, given that now 2 more US soldiers have been killed and strikes have been going on for more than a week straight?
It likely seems that we are at that point. However, there are, I think, limitations that both the Iranians and the US side have been putting on. Probably the largest that I would think of at the moment would be a lack of ground troops dedicated anywhere, whether by the Iran. But you are correct in terms of just a continuing escalation of strikes that neither side seems to be willing to back down from at this moment.
Do you think that ground troops are a likely next step? Do you think that is something that is on the cards now?
I personally hope not and do not think so. That has been a pretty firm line for the Americans and for President Trump. And I think in particular, any type of military action in that with ground troops, I think would be incredibly difficult considering just the geography of trying to get to Iran and also staging and everything else that we've seen in the way that the American way of war tends to be over the past few decades.
What is the public sentiment like at the moment in the United States for this conflict, particularly given that the midterms are coming up in a couple of months? We've now seen several deaths, these last 2 deaths of US soldiers in the Middle East. Surely will not make this any more popular with the American people.
Absolutely not. And honestly, that is the line that is being navigated at the moment in terms of midterms, and particularly for the president, for President Trump, how to navigate this war that is deeply unpopular, not only with the American public, but also in Congress, including among Republicans, in addition to the economic problems that are, particularly the price of gas continues to increase in the States. So there are a variety of problems and issues that the White House is going to have to navigate if the conflict, if the war continues to increase. And, as you noted, potential for more American deaths. There's potential for even greater kind of materiel losses, the impact on relationships with particularly Gulf partners and allies. It has not been a popular choice to conduct this operation.
Given, as you say, the US doesn't want this war to escalate, Iran doesn't necessarily want this war to escalate, but neither side sort of seems to be willing to back down. What is the way out here? Is there a pathway to peace that you can see?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it does require diplomacy, it requires discussion, and it requires trust. And particularly from the Iranian side, Supreme Leader Moshtaba Khamenei said earlier today, maybe yesterday for you, that that it is very difficult to trust the Americans, in particular President Trump, after this latest round of strikes. And from the Iranian perspective, I can absolutely see where the Iranian government would believe that, and be very wary of coming back to the table to talk with the Americans, in hopes of ending the conflict. But in the end, one side or the other, is you know is going to have to put that aside and be willing to talk and be willing to cease. And I'm not quite sure that either side is there yet.
Karen, thank you so much for your insights and analysis today. Really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.